Hello and welcome to JOKAKAKA's Evangelion podcast, our AvaCast. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
We're here. We're queer.
I was waiting for like you could say it.
We had I was trying to think I couldn't make any actual connection. We haven't gotten to the gay character yet. But here we are. We are talking about Evangelion.
I'm sure there's an hour-long analysis video of how Shinji, Rei, or Asuka are gay.
Or all of the above.
Or all the above. Or bi or something.
So thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about 3 episodes of Evangelion. Normally in these we've done 2. And it's kind of worked out perfectly. A lot of those were kind of like almost two-parters or pseudo-two-parters.
But we had a half episode in the 3, so it kind of worked better.
We finally reached the clip episode, which I forgot about, actually.
You remembered it before we last recording session, but
I'd forgotten that it where it lands. And I mix it up with a different one too, but
you're literally at the halfway point. What 3 episode numbers we were?
So we were talking about episodes 13, 14, and 15. So
out of 24 episodes?
26
episodes.
So we are over the halfway point.
Okay, cool.
As of this episode. But so those episodes, to catch you up, to give you a little crash course, if you will, before we take the deep dive, are Angel Infiltration, also known as the Lilliputian Hitcher, which is the hacking episode.
Yeah, base is being hacked.
The last, actually, and this is the only angel that we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
In these 3 episodes.
No, technically not.
Actually, okay, you are correct. But this is the only angel attack that happens in these 3 episodes. Then we have Sele, the Seat of the Soul, also known as Weaving a Story. That is
the clip show.
Yeah, half clip show, half recycled animation, but is new content technically. And then there's Lies and Silence, also known as Those Women Longed for the Touch of Others' Lips and Thus Invited Their Kisses, which was a really good one. I mean, it was basically just like
the horny episode.
Yeah, we are reaching a point in Ava that I'm so excited about. I think it's like
Jim's like, we're done with this Monster of the Week shit.
Kind of, yeah. We have the Monster of the Week stuff for a bit, and that's a fun little era. But like halfway into our watch session, when we got to like the new content in the clip show, there's like a long monologue that Rei has about like her experience with like reality, and I'm like that. What's that one guy that makes the jerk chicken meme where he's like, oh yeah, boy. That was literally me. Like that was literally me. Like, oh yeah, here's the Ava shit. Here's like the most impactful Ava content.
The third impact.
Yeah, make the third impact chicken.
That has to exist as a recipe.
There must be.
It's like an impact chicken.
There's probably like a ramen, like an instant ramen flavor that's like second impact flavored.
I bet if I take
Ava is one of the most
commercialized,
overly commercialized franchises. I'm sure there's been some sort of second or third impact. Technically, second impact's the only one's happened. Third impact is what they're trying to avoid. All right, Sam.
All my result was a cup ramen just decked out in Ava characters.
That's them.
Or you get the Asuka brand. Which ramen? If you see these in a store,
the Asuka one's got to be spicy, or it's like German flavored.
I guess it's probably.
I would get the Rei one. Rei's my favorite, so I'd get the Rei one.
Orange.
The orange, yes.
The orange.
Well, that's funny because in the movies...
What about the gay one with Shinji and his boyfriend?
The gay one. I would get the Rei one. But it's funny because in the movies they change Unit Zero's color to be
orange.
That's
what I'm more familiar with the orange one. I feel like I looked at many of Evangelion model kits, and I think I've seen more of the orange one than I've seen of the.
Yeah, where most of the show, I believe, Unit Zero's blue.
Yes.
All right. So, what did you think of these 3 little episodes?
Interesting. The first episode was very whatever.
I told you going into it, it's one of the worst.
It's really
ones.
I did laugh towards the end of it, but like we'll get into. But I mean, and there's just a lot of like exposition stuff, and like I don't like Kaji still, I guess, but like
well, Kaji doesn't even do anything. He literally just like pops out of like a manhole.
He pops up like
he's like, I better be around for this one.
I'm actually a spy this entire time.
Yeah, it's very obvious that Kaji's a spy,
and I'm just like. I'm going to bone Misato. I'm like, please don't.
She does not want it.
But yeah, it was a lot. Basically, like the only super like important stuff though is like towards the end of like every episode, or at least episode 2 and 3, or maybe watched.
I really I really do not get much out of this episode. So I might be misremembering. So
because we the first episode is like a Riska episode. She's a very like not too much liking her because she's a very like cold person.
She's very distant. I actually really like Ritsuko. It took me a while to come around to her, but I really like this episode. What I wanted to say really quick was, I might be misremembering, but I think this is where there's like community fandom speculation that
boy.
The what?
I said, oh boy.
That Anno had stepped away from the show for a few weeks, and it was during this time period. That's why people aren't a huge fan of this episode, the computer hacking episode. Then the next episode is a lot of reused footage and just a clip show essentially.
The whole Ray monologue was just something he had written down like ahead of time.
I don't really know the validity because there's a lot of like weird misconceptions about Anno. People seem to think that Anno just would get like depressed and take like long breaks from his shows. Not entirely true.
That's literally every creator. Like remember the Berserk who like did it to Love Live or something.
Yeah, there's so many like these things start as jokes, and then people earnestly believe that like Kentaro Miura was addicted to Love Live and would not write chapters because
I don't know if you know it was shut down. The game, the mobile game. If you made jokes of like, oh, because Miura passed away,
he was the whale that was supporting it, the one man supporting it. But yeah, because it was like I think one editor once made like a joke about how Miura took long on a chapter because he was playing Love Live. Well, yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's just one of those things where creators will just have those memes going around.
Exactly. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. I still contend that Anno is very involved with Eva, start to finish. You can tell. I would say that this era of Eva is even more indicative of like the ending stuff that we'll see soon. But
yeah, I know that. I know it gets crazy.
It does get trippy and weird.
And it kind of like starts into that trippiness with the Ray monologue.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most like we have just detached from any sort of like standard plot structure.
And basically like it's like going where we had the scale where we had like Asuka as like a new protagonist and Ray going back to obscurity, and now it's starting to level back up and go the opposite way.
Asuka still like demands a lot of attention in her scenes, but she's not nearly the focus that she was.
She is literally background noise. She is regarded as just a subtitles while she's just trying to lay down of her just like screeching your ears off.
Yeah, she kind of just exists to pester Shinji
and
a lot
to
of the
be
time.
a horrible person that I do not like as a person.
She's 14. She's barely a person.
I would literally be off-put by just interacting with this person. Even at her age, I would just completely be off-put by her personality.
I guess that's fair. I think it's important to just remember the age of these kids. Like they are like still mentally developing.
Even young me was not a tsundere person. I'm pretty sure.
Well, there are some people that are. So.
I know some people that are. I'm
going
saying
back to the Nagatoro
for myself.
Like you hate Nagatoro, but that is like some people's like.
Yes, I know.
That's their bread and butter.
It's probably why people like Ray and like people like Asuka just like two different sides of a coin.
It's like chocolate vanilla. Like you just totally different flavors. All right, so to actually. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this episode because I don't like it, and honestly, there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, it's basically Optus being hacked by Angel, which is really stupid. I was like, Jim, this has to be because they sent the Ava 1 up there to like, stop the hacking. Like, it has to have a physical appearance after they stop the hacking, so Shinji can just quickly fight it, and it just doesn't.
They even talk about the Angel evolving too.
Yes,
they said because Ritsuko's plan is like, oh, let's make the Angel evolve. But that doesn't seem like that ever comes up again. I think the biggest problem with this episode is that essentially they just want like a bottle episode where we get to focus on Ritsuko, and we don't really get that. We get a lot of bullshit.
And just like everybody else, she had to have a mommy and or daddy drama with her, as her mom made the supercomputer that essentially they just run on.
Yeah, so I think the biggest takeaway from this episode is we learn a lot about the Magi system, which is the. As you said, it's like the supercomputer. I believe, as I said, I should look this up. I believe it is named after the 3 wise men who Jesus, who gave gifts to Jesus.
Yes, Casper,
Oscar, Bosker, and Dosker.
Yeah. They gave incense, gold, and myrrh.
It should be it's Casper, Melchior, and
Casper's the only notable one in
Balthazar. There's the other one.
Fuck. Yeah. So. essentially, yeah, they mean hack. They were doing an experiment of like basically doing like an artificial angel bot. I get that angel body. I guess Ava body. I guess it could be, but that's not important. But they just and they're trying to just do like experiment. Like 2 of these episodes at least, or 3, they're just doing experiments with them, with the kids, and
yeah, which from like a thematic standpoint, or not thematic, but like I like that it's not always combat. Like I like that we're not always learning about the characters through fights. Like it makes sense that we'd see downtime. Like there's a lot of like preparation that goes into these things, so it makes sense that they would need to train and test the kids all the time.
The kids are naked. Asuka's angry that she's naked. Experiment goes wrong. They literally shoot the kids. It's being hacked. They have to counter hack, but the hacking is so fast that they cannot simply conceive the speed of typing they have to do to try to combat it. Nothing's working.
So yeah, they have a meeting. So okay, the ultimate problem here is the Angel's hacking the supercomputer.
Yes.
And it immediately is able to get into whatever, the first one, Balthazar.
Yeah.
And the fear, or like what its plan is it's trying to initiate a self-destruct.
Yes.
But it can't do that until it controls all 3, because it needs all 3, like, which we learn later, each supercomputer is a different aspect of its creator's identity.
You'll get to.
So yeah, it needs to get all of those 3.
And they have a plan. Okay, maybe we should just forcibly shut down, like just nuke just get rid of it. It's the way to stop it. And they're like, no, we can't do that, mommy. And basically the plan is to just basically open up the computer, go
and do hacking.
Get keyword number 25. There's sticky notes everywhere. So we basically learned that her mother, like, basically put her conscious, or like aspects of her brain into like 3 different brains of the supercomputer. It's kind of fucked up. There's a lot of machine porn.
So yeah, there's the 3 different computers represent her as a scientist, her as a mother, and her as a woman.
And thank God the Angel's weakness is the aspect of being a woman. It's being a woman,
because that is the one. Casper is the woman one, and it is the one that's able to not even win against it, but it defends against the Angel attack long enough for Ritsuko to type the enter button enough times.
So they also, angels aren't the only thing that can kill an angel. Just the power of woman can also kill the angel.
Yeah, I really don't
explain.
I don't know how to explain this. I don't like the idea of them just winning immediately by rehacking. I think that's kind of stupid.
So you can get any woman and just you grind her up in a paste and use her as a weapon basis to shoot at angels and defeat the angel now, right?
So okay, just because this isn't explicitly made clear by the show, but going by Wikipedia, this angel's name is Irilu.
Okay.
Iriel. So initially there's a lot of like build up. The scientists think it's like corrosion.
There's a lot of
on
that,
the wall.
There's a lot of that like mumbo jumbo, like
the gill flaps are being unloaded into the fart knockers.
Look at the hexagons are flashing like crazy.
Yeah. But so what it actually is, the angel is a collection of millions of microscopic organisms which interact to create a living biological computer circuit. You know, I've seen this episode so many times, I've never gotten that impression. I just always assumed it was some kind of computer virus.
See, if we get an answer to what the angels are, like, you know, I have to go back and see, like, does this explain computer virus angel?
I think, so what ultimately doesn't work for me in this episode is there isn't, like, something great that Ritsuko does that beats the angel. It's literally just goes into the computer and, like, uses the failsafe. Like, there's all these, as you said, there's a lot of cool machine porn. They go into the Magi system. There's all these cool, like, freaking pipes and wires and shit. And all these notes around which are the actual, like, backdoor schematics. I don't know.
It's all like codes and passwords, like other ways to get into.
It's just like login credentials.
Pretty much.
So all that Ritsuko does is type quickly. Like, she just types fast. Like, we don't know what she's doing. We don't it's not like Ritsuko's making like a big choice here. Later on, she talks about how, this is the woman version.
Well, girls got it done because all the 3 female characters got it done inside there.
That's true. I think it's just it's underbaked. I think ultimately that's the problem.
And also, she's just like explaining a little bit about the whole computer thing and her mother, and like, I guess like her mother was always involved with like her work and everything, but she also wants to like defend her work. Like
Yeah.
I told John, like, I'm very impressed that they, like, any other show would have been like, during the episode a flashback happened of her as a kid, like, look, mommy, I drew a picture, and it'd be like, I don't care, I'm trying to build this supercomputer kind of thing.
Take that shit away from me.
Yeah, and then she died, but then, like, it could have been like flash forward where she goes into the thing where she had her picture that she drew, like, in the computer as like something she would look at, her brain would look at or something. I don't know.
Her brain. That is one thing. Ava is pretty good with flashbacks.
If we only had really
There's
the
not,
second
like, stupid
impact one.
Yeah. Whenever there's a flashback in Ava, it's like really impactful.
Yeah.
Like, no pun intended. But the elements that I think succeed in this episode are with Ritsuko. I think there should be more of it. I like her as a character. I think her, and like, clearly she, as you said, she has mommy issues. Like, she didn't even create the Magi. Her mother created them.
Yeah,
She basically just
and she says,
started them up again.
and she thinks that I cannot be a mother, so I could not, like, understand that.
That line is very interesting. I wonder if she physically cannot have children, or if she means that she just doesn't.
I
If
don't
she's
know.
not like, because we
See,
never.
Oh, Avengers taught me one thing: if she can call herself a monster, she can have children.
Because she's definitely been flirty with Kaji, but she never
mean,
is with anyone else. Like,
I mean, that was like a step up above flirting when he, like, legit, like, I feel like he grabbed her boob at one point.
I don't know. Did he grab? He kind of wrapped his arms around
He
her.
got, like,
But
very
it was,
handy.
It was to, like, make Misato mad. It was like to
Yeah.
tease Misato. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if she, like, literally means that she cannot have children, or if she just doesn't.
Want to. Just fucking hates kids.
If she's not, like,
I mean,
she might not be like heterosexual.
I could also understand her just hating children because she does not give a shit about any of these pilots at all, as we learn.
It is kind of, she does. She kind of cares. She kind of cares about the pilots. There's a part in the next episode, where Rei screams, and then her and Misato both are alarmed.
Well, it literally sets off a red light. So, but like, it is weird. You did get Misato, her kind of more of, like, the friendship they have. We kind of get more when the wedding happens. But, like,
Yeah, I like the Misato Ritsuko interactions a lot.
Yeah.
Like, them kind of talking, her, and when Kaji's in there too, they talk about, like, college a lot. And I really, as someone who's been to college and now is out of college, I really enjoy,
compare that trio,
like, relating to that.
Like, compare that trio to, like, what's called Asuka, Rei, and Shinji.
I know. I think that is, like, definitely a parallel you're supposed to make. Like, because there's
the
obviously
emotionless,
3 of each.
like, kind of the emotionless, like, I guess
The emotionless and sexless one. There's
sexless.
there's the firebrand, like angry one, and then there's the guy. Because Shinji's very different from Kaji.
I would still feel Asuka would just be like, I guess she because Asuka also get be like kind of like pulled along like Asuka feels, even though he does not feel anything for her.
Yeah.
She feels that way.
But
That's
yeah,
basically that episode though.
They win. They just beat the angel.
The
and
gang is naked in the pods in the lake, and it's hilarious. You slap your knee and you chuckle.
Yeah, I like that it's I like that we're kind of like putting the kids away for a minute and like spending time with the rest of the cast, because the Nerve like workers, like the Nerve staff, are really important.
We learned, I think, the first time learning that the one girl's name is Maya.
Yeah, they do say her name. Yeah, and she has like some cute little moments too, where
She's
when
like,
she sees
"Whoa!"
inside of the computer, she's like, "Am I even like authorized to like see some of this information?" Like,
And she's like, "Hey, girls get it done." And she's like, "You're damn right we do."
All right, so
Yeah, the second episode, like half of it is just a clip show.
So yeah, we watched like a bit of it, and then
It's a lot-
when I realized that it wasn't like anything new, I skipped through.
It would have been really cool if it was all like voiceless. It was just like little like slideshow, like
yeah,
like
almost like an old newsreel or something.
yeah. I would have liked that more, but it does go into like the narrator in it. But yeah, not until you hit like the end, the halfway point is where you get into like a lot of like I said, reuse animation and like the Rei existential crisis.
Yeah, there is like extensive reused animation. Even in general, you can just tell that these are shots that have been used before.
They had the one it's a Rei JPEG that they just like reused for that one shot.
Copy pasted.
Yes.
So yeah, basically the premise of this episode is that we're basically switching up the pilots in their
yes.
in their different
to see how they
Avas.
sync.
Yeah. So interestingly,
So the little things is that
Asuka does not, but Rei and Shinji do.
Rei sings perfectly was one. Asuka says like, shouldn't I be more in this or use my Magi? You're like, no, you're good. You're already that good. She's like, yo, you're right. And, like it was learned that no one can sync with Asuka's Ava other than Asuka herself.
Yeah, Asuka's the only one, which is interesting because they almost mentioned that last or in the Magma Diver episode or something where
they said Rei was
Rei be up to do it, but that interesting. That
you literally have to like stoke her ego to like get her to like just not even think about anything else, and they're keeping that away from Asuka because maybe that would just inflate her ego even more, or top secret.
Yeah,
it could either be one, and I could believe either one to be like the reasoning. But yeah, and then Shinji tries to pilot 00, and it goes fucking haywire.
It basically does what it tried to do to Gendo, like down to the same animation, but instead of Gendo standing behind the glass, it's actually Rei.
Yes.
So the big thing here is like Misato is like, was it trying to kill Rei? Was Unit 00 trying to kill Rei?
But I think what's it called? Ritsuko says, I think it was definitely trying to kill me. I'm pretty sure it was trying to kill me.
Yeah, which is interesting that she would also immediately like, why would Ritsuko think that? Why would Ritsuko think that the Ava tried to kill her?
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. So, do you want to talk about the existential crisis scene at all, or not?
The Rei part?
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to actually pull up the.
It's a big monologue of like her. It's like existential crisis of like being human, essentially, or like it's a lot.
Yes, I'm sure that it exists somewhere on the internet. I don't know if I want to read it.
You don't have to read
out.
it.
It'd be funny if I read it all out. There's a few.
I know Rei's your favorite character in this.
Yeah, Rei Romano, my favorite character.
Everybody loves Rei.
Hold on. People are calling it a poem.
Is it a
Is it a jaloem?
A jaloem? A haku?
Well, basically, it's very. I don't know. This is probably the most Rei has spoken.
Oh, definitely.
Literally in the entire show.
Other than that one time thing she's talking with Shinji before the sniper mission, that's like probably the second most she talked.
But so yeah, I'm trying to just find. I can't find the actual. I thought it'd be easier to find it. Okay, here we go. So yeah, she basically talks about like, kind of it's a very like metaphysical. She's thinking about like how humans relate. Like, is she a human? How do humans relate to the universe? It's very like. I don't know. It's almost like stream of conscious because she's talking about like things that give her pleasure, and she immediately thinks of Gendo, which is strange. She talks about the color red and how she hates the color red.
Makes sense.
A lot of this we're getting like really quick flashes. So she says, water flowing, blood, the smell of blood, a woman who never bleeds. So interesting. I wonder what we can make out of that line.
She cannot menstruate.
Maybe Rei doesn't have a period.
But she can bleed though, because I'm pretty sure we've seen her blood-soaked bandages in her apartment, unless she just had them for props in case anybody didn't believe.
Well, yeah, those are like blood that come out the regular way.
But I can believe. No.
But she says, "Man made from red soil," so I guess that could be
like I said,
kind of a
I'm
real,
pretty
clay
sure
body, like bodies from clay thing.
Like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, like when our first episode, that I'm pretty sure I know the Rei twist, which I mentioned forever ago.
What?
Which that Rei was like a clone of like Shinji's mom.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay.
But that's what we've seen the tube.
We do see a tube. That was the next episode, I think.
And Gendo, I know, yeah, and Gendo's staring like, yes. Sick freak says yes. But yeah, so she has that. Shinji and Rei also smell each other in the cockpits. Don't forget, in each other's Avas. That's kind of a moment.
Yes, that's kind of the biggest thing.
They're like, well, that happened.
There was kind of a disconnection between Rei and Shinji in the past, like, literally, like, 8 episodes. Since they had their little arc, and Rei's character arc, like, finished for a bit, like, they barely have interacted.
She's barely interacted with anybody, really. Like,
yeah, so having them finally connect is, like, a really big change.
There'll be one line toward there, and you're like, whatever.
One other thing. Okay, so another thing that Rei mentions in this, I'll just read. The thing I possess are life and the things I possess are life and soul. I am a vessel for a soul. Entry plug. The throne for a soul.
I wonder what soul's inside of her.
So yeah, I really like this kind of connection. Rei is making this like metaphysical connection to the physical things she knows about, like the entry plug and like the Evangelion, how the Evangelion works.
Basically, yeah, stuff she knows way too much about.
One last thing that I thought was hilarious that we talk about is Rey mentions everyone by name, literally except Asuka. She calls Asuka the pilot of Unit 02.
Yeah, fuck her.
Asuka is literally nothing to Rey, and I think that's the funniest thing in the whole world.
It's perfect. It's so funny, especially with like all their merchandise. They're usually like paired up together, and like, a lot of the merchandise because they're the two like girl pilots. It's just really,
and I know Rey doesn't seem super vindictive, but it's almost the perfect way to treat Asuka, because the worst thing you can do to Asuka is not give her attention.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what Rey does. She intentionally does not give Asuka attention, even in just the way that she acknowledges her, and it's hysterical. Like the first scene when like Asuka goes up to say hi to Rey, and she's like, you're like blocking the light, like for my book, I can't read, like move."
It's perfect. I love that. That's a nice little moment. Also, she hates the color red. Why would she want to remember anybody's name that's primary color is red in and out of the suit?
One other line that I thought was really interesting. She says like, "This feels very strange. I feel as if my body's melting."
Well, maybe her body's probably unstable because of the cloning thing, and they have to go back into the tube.
And we also have this thing too that happens in this episode where I think Shinji and Rey both describe like their bodies feeling weird, trying to like synchronize to the new.
Where like something with like their right hand was like,
yeah,
it's like what, like everything else with the right hand felt weird or something like that. Like I know they're both like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, the thing goes berserk. Yeah, because it almost tries to attack Rey. Shinji wakes up in the room again.
Also, yeah, Rey has like no self-preservation instinct. Like she just stands there.
Glass breaks, doesn't move an inch, and
she's just that much of a badass.
Sure, or a psychopath. Sociopath.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then basically Shinji again. You know, he wakes up in the hospital room with a weird TV show on. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, it's a show about like a dog that is a what's it called? Taxologist. Like it knows taxonomy. Like
yeah,
the joke is like the dog only says wolf. So every
wolf, it is a wolf. Yeah.
Like what kind of animals Canis lupus? I just think that's such a strange like. Why did they even bother including this?
And yeah, and then basically we have like Gendo talking essentially at the end of the episode, where like everything's going according to plan. It's ready. The spear of longness.
I think he says that like Adam's restoration is like almost perfectly on track.
It's going according to plan, Jim.
Things are fine.
Menacingly going according to plan.
Oh, and the last thing we see...
We had a setback, but now it's going according to plan.
Yes. The last thing we see is Rey in her Ava.
With the spear.
With the spear of Longinus. The Lance of Longinus.
Which is the spear that pierced Christ when he was on the cross, for anybody who doesn't know.
That's true.
Very, very epic biblical reference. I've never seen one in the show, Jim.
It's a spear that pierced Christ's toe beans.
Right under his right in the rib.
All right, and then that's it for that episode. Anything else?
No, that's basically like okay. It's basically like the second half of the show's kicking off. So get ready.
Yeah, we are entering like
it's literally
a very strange era.
Like here's a recap of the first half, and then here's like the I guess the prologue for the second half of the show to what to expect. And you get some weird Rey even if I didn't probably know what the Rey gimmick is, like it kind of like heavily teasing that.
When I remember the first time I watched it, I basically was like figured it out too. I was like,
yeah.
Rey, and then this next episode.
This one, yeah.
And once we got to this episode where Rey is like wringing out the cloth,
it's essentially like get ready for remember that Adam shit that was teased like this like a second or third episode, yeah, or that's gonna be coming back. Like Rey is having more of a focus, and Shinji is probably gonna be caught in the middle like he is with everything else, and that's basically. And then in the next episode we kick off with like. There's a bunch of subplots. There's like there's like a couple of different subplots, which is like the adults and then the kids stuff essentially.
Yeah, we have it's funny because of like it doesn't seem like a very eventful episode, but there is a lot like a tremendous amount of stuff is happening. We have slowly behind the scenes.
Kaji, like you get like the stuff like okay, he is a spy. literally doing spy shit. He's not. He's found out by at least 2 different people so far. So his spying stuff is going great. He's a great spy.
Yeah, he brings up let's just talk about Kaji really quick. So
Yeah.
he is looking into a few things, which we know he finds at the end.
And he is working for like what the prime minister, like Department of Investigation or something like that.
Yeah, that's something Misato realizes that he actually has 2 roles, which damn, that guy must be making fucking bank per year.
Oh, not gonna be much useful when he's fucking dead from one of those sides killing him.
But so he is looking around. He's looking into the Marduk Institute, which, like, it's only been mentioned once or twice.
Yeah.
Basically, we haven't even talked about human instrumentality yet. Okay, we'll get there. So the Marduk Institute, which we learned from Kaji, is like a secret organization.
It had like 100. It was like 108 backers, and like 106 of them were like fake.
Well, that was like shell companies essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so
and only 2, but there was like 1 or 2 of them that were actually like real boys.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how does this lead him to finding Adam at the end. Whatever. So
Good question.
He talks that the Marduk Institute is essentially like the secret group that is the one that finds the next pilot for Ava. So
Yes.
interesting, like
The ones that find Asuka, and that's it.
well, they presumably found Shingi too, but
I feel like Shinji came to them more than anything.
hey, we'll see. We will see.
They build Rey in a cave with a box of scraps. The Gruer.
I'm trying to think of what else. So yeah, and basically, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about the Adam stuff at the end, but
there's like the adult stuff and there's the kid stuff. Like the adult stuff, there's like a wedding coming up. They gotta look pretty. Like
Misato has to go out and buy a new dress because she doesn't have one, and she talks about how like the bills are piling up. And once again, I just have to. What is she making? Like, what the fuck is Misato making per month?
How is the housing market like not cheap as hell in this like fucking world?
She should just buy a ton of properties.
You would think
rent them out.
There's no one living in apartment. You think Nerve could have enough money to just rent out the fucking like apartment just for employees?
Well, Nerve has no issue with money. It's the amount of money they're paying Misato that I'm curious about.
She's like a fucking commander.
Yeah, she's an incredibly important person.
She literally got promoted like a few episodes ago.
And she's like bitching about how much money she has to spend on like a dress.
She has to like put the beer budget lower. That's why she's fucking not happy.
Yeah, maybe she's spending like an insane amount, like a dangerous amount on alcohol. We just don't see it.
Exactly.
So they have their whole thing. I really like this little like kind of wedding scene. I really, like we talked about earlier, I just love the interactions between these characters.
It's such a fucking rapid like wedding montage. Like it's not even a montage. It's like 3 like scenes, like 3-second scenes, and it's a cut like rapidly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I always find these really interesting because it's good. It's easy for Anno to do this in like animation because he can just have a quick scene. Because like they do that stuff in like Shin Godzilla a few times, and it's just like, damn, you had to like set up a whole shot for this. Like, at least with animation, you would just have to draw like a few seconds.
Yeah.
Not to say that's trivial, but
yeah, draw the characters again in like new outfits and like side characters that are just nothing. But yeah, basically Kaji shows up late at looking like a fucking like a mess. His tie all like hectic and his stubble there.
I like how Misato even mentions the stubble and she's like damn, you couldn't have even shaved.
He's like, you guys are bickering like a couple. And he's like, I like the sound of that. I'm like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, Misato is just like, ew, I hate this man. He's actually horrible to me.
Fucking like homeless man, probably.
But then they go to like a quote unquote after party is what Misato calls it.
It looks like a rooftop bar.
Yeah, I don't know if they've been here before in this. I can't remember if that one scene where Misato and Ritsuko were at the bar before. This was like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Maybe. I'm not sure if that's the same.
I love this locale. I would love to go there in real life.
I think that first one I compared it to, I felt like it was like on the Ava base because it felt like the Star Trek like Next Generation like bars like on their ship where it's just like part of the establishment because it helps their employees for morale, I guess. Like it could have been that, but I think it felt more like a rooftop bar. It was like overlooking like the city. It seemed like.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know,
but yeah, you might be right. But it's very like nice. They're all having funny cocktails. This is the banter. I love the banter between these characters. We learned so much about like
they all were in college, college together.
Yeah. We learn about their backstory. We learn about like Nerve through them. It's just really good. Like we didn't talk about this yet, but I wanted to say like the women are written pretty well. I think some of the most laughable moments are like the stuff with Ritsuko and her mother as a woman. Like that stuff feels like a little weird, but like all of the other like female characters I think are incredibly like like well designed, or not well designed, but like they're very well rendered, I should say.
I always talk about Masato, like how much I think she's great. Of like, she is a goofball, but like when she's like in her job, she's like fucking incredible and like competent and everything.
And we see her like legitimately break down at the end of this episode, which I found that to be a very impactful moment.
She's like my fucking favorite character of this so far.
Yeah, I find. And also, I don't know if you can relate to it, but I am the same age, basically the same age to Misato. We both are. But her and Ritsuko are talking about the whole wedding thing, and like their discussion is basically like oh, everyone's getting married. I'm like broke because I have to spend so much money on like the wedding gifts, and like everyone's trying to get married so they're not the last one to be single before they're 30. And I was just like, damn. I relate to all this.
Yeah.
I too have been to a million weddings because all my friends are getting married.
Yeah.
It's just that time of our lives.
I feel that kind of big moment coming around for me of just like having to go to a bunch of shit like that.
Yeah. When it hits you, it hits you. Like I swear, I have like 4 coming up.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I know you do. But
yeah, so I just really like all that stuff. But Ritsuko ends up leaving, so it's of course Ritsuko she knows what she's fucking doing. Like
he's like
playing with fire by leaving those two together.
My eggs are deflated, so I'm just gonna let these two go at it.
And so we have like
I think we had that moment of her breaking down in front of him. He's saying to stop. This is like him being like not like how he's been like of like this tease and like. It's like him. Actually,
he's very mature. He's being extremely mature.
Him being different out of literally every other time we've seen him not be acting like a spy.
Yeah, and he's like carrying her home essentially because she's throwing up. Which it's funny because like you think of Misato as a heavy drinker, so for her to get that drunk that she throws up, like damn.
Yeah,
she must have been kicking him back.
You have a Briscoe where she's like, you've been drinking, you're talking a lot more than you usually do. Like I tend to do that sometimes, and like you never. And I guess even someone who's an alcoholic can fall victim if they drink enough to that, where they can just start spilling their heart out. How do you drink? No matter how good of a drinker you are, you'll get to that point. Everybody's been there.
It's true. But yeah, I like basically what Misato says here. I find very interesting. Yeah. Like she always is like. She's such a confident character. She's always extremely confident and like easygoing until she needs to like pull her shit. But with this, it shows that she's like really self-conscious. She thinks very lowly of herself. She literally says like, I hate myself, which reminded me of another good movie in A Silent Voice. There's a character in A Silent Voice who screams,
my God.
I hate myself. And I was like, holy shit, I can't think of an anime where a character just like admits like, because that's to me that is like a humongous admission, like and extremely like relatable for like
that fucking part in that move in Silent Voice fucking like hurt my insides how much it fucking hurt.
Like, I know, it's crazy. A good movie. Silent Voice,
very good movie. Watch it but be mentally prepared.
But yeah, I really like, and like the way that she talks about herself too. She says that she's basically she sees herself as quote unquote a conniving bitch who only uses men to further advance her wills.
Yeah.
Which is like upsetting because we know that's not really true. And like we know Misato is nice to Shinji.
Well, she kept mentioning Shinji.
Yeah, she also like disparagingly compares herself to Shinji. She feels like she is just like him. Because she like the last episode also has parent issues. She has daddy issues.
Yeah, well, we saw that in the flashback.
And she talks about how she realized that she was dating Kaji because Kaji reminded her of her dad. And the moment she realized that, she had like a breakdown and immediately broke up with him.
Yep, because I think she like told him that she was interested in somebody else and everything. She never told him that.
So the way I think this is like incredible writing here. I think that like the way I look at it is Misato clearly was close with her dad, and then he died, saving her, which was like very impactful. She has like all this pent up resentment for that. So like we don't know too much about him himself, the father.
No,
but like knowing Kaji, Kaji seems like kind of a shady character, but also like he's got a heart of gold. So it's almost like she was self-sabotaging herself. Like she fell in love with him for a reason.
Sometimes,
and then she was like, it was like the realization was too much for her, and she had to quit on it.
Yeah, I said mind golems or
Mind golems.
mind goblins are a hell of a thing, especially if you're like get a relationship where you start seeing somebody, you get these mind gremlins, mind goblins that kind of just like fuck with that and just like I can't do it kind of thing, and like I don't, maybe not everybody has that, but like I've had that a plenty of time where like I just like I gotta abort now. I can't. I can't do it. Like,
yeah, and that's exactly what she did. Like she realized, like, oh my god,
I really relate to. Like, I think you can write women very well for the most part. Not perfect, but like.
Yeah, I think there's some definitely like whatever dubious things, but Misato is such a well rendered character.
Yes.
And this scene is like one of the best with her, like seeing how she sees herself, how she sees Shinji. She both pities but is like sympathetic to Shinji because she compares herself and says like, I'm just like him. Like I still have like daddy issues and run away from shit that I can't handle.
She even more like a big sister character because I think like later on when like talking to Shinji about like going, encouraging him to go to the graveyard to talk to his father and like just step up and do it.
Yeah, and that was the same episode, and it's like, damn, we didn't even talk about that.
We're on the adult. We're trying to do the adult plot line, then we do the kid plot line.
Just like very well, like, what's it called? Like the way that those two things are like paralleled.
Yes.
Just very clever, very smart. Yeah, I mean Misato is a fantastic character. And Kaji's kind of being a good guy. Kaji's legitimately like being like a nice man here.
He gets her home. He doesn't he drops her off. He doesn't try to take advantage of her.
No, yeah.
Even though he did that thing in the elevator with her, which was very sus, mad sus. And he just didn't. He's like, drop her off. I gotta go. Ain't got time, Asuka. Ain't got time.
He's definitely not a good guy, but he's a morally gray.
There's some good in him.
Yeah, and he clearly does still care for both of them.
Yes.
Like, both of his friends.
I think maybe finally hearing her why she broke up with him is like more understanding now instead of just like, I'm going to tease her and fuck with her just because she fucking broke up with me for no reason. Or for another guy.
Yeah, and that is possible because one of the things she mentioned is like, oh, I lied to you. Did you know that? And he said no. Like,
Misato, you cured my incelism.
So yeah, he legitimately could have had like resentment towards her.
Yeah.
And that would have gone away with that realization. Well, maybe not gone away because that's still like a weird reason to like break up with someone.
Yeah.
Let's say not super understandable, but yeah, I mean, just incredible stuff with these characters in this episode. This is like peak Ava. I fucking love it so much.
Yes. So should we talk about the kids?
Yes. So Shinji
in school.
Oh yeah, Asuka.
Asuka
calls Kaji to like hang out, but he's not answering the phone because he's doing spy shit.
She's making up a fake sexual assault going on.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, pervert, stop touching me." It's like, "Oh, Kaji will have to call me now because of that."
She's like, I was like, this girl is, if she doesn't mature, she is such a problematic person in like the future.
Yeah, like how horrible that is. She's faking being like sexually assaulted to get attention.
Get attention. She is someone that would do that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for her character. Like, I'm not like in a judgment-free zone.
There's many like
it makes sense for her character.
There's a notable like true crime like people in there. I'm like, Asuka is like one day away from becoming one of these like famous case study people of just doing this for attention. Like.
She does love her
either
attention.
A, killing her own child, or B, murdering her lover and like framing it in a bad way.
Child. But so yeah, the whole Asuka story, at least initially, is that
she has a hot date. Class pres set her up with a date.
Class rep has a cousin or something to go on a date with, which we don't learn about this till later, but Asuka fucking ditches this guy mid-date. Like,
I mean...
Asshole. Asuka's an asshole.
And she is. First of many times she's an asshole in this.
This is one of the most irredeemable Asuka moments. No, I'm kidding.
Asuka villain arc.
But no, that is like... I mean, that just illustrates so much about her character of like how little regard she has for other people. She just got bored and left this guy.
Also wore the ugliest dress I've ever fucking seen.
It is really weird.
It's like lime neon green. It like burned my eyes.
It's very hard to explain, but like I've seen a lot of like Japanese commercials from the 90s. It looks a lot like that kind of fashion. So it must have been in style at the time. Women wearing these big like not a single color, not I was gonna say multicolor. These big single color like dress suits or whatever you want to call it.
But also, while she's out there inside the class, is Shinji and Rei are like cleaning, and Shinji's staring at Rei because what else he fucking does is stare at some girl, and sees her wringing out the wet cloth, and it just like she just like stares at it, gets bonked in the head, like stop fucking being horny, man, staring at the girl.
And he like relives the moment too. We see it a few times.
We'll get there. We get to like him talking to Rei, but
which it's really I just from like a writing standpoint, I think it's really weird that the last episode we saw was basically the same thing that happens here, where like the pilots have like a sync test.
Yeah,
I feel like that could have been like maybe they wanted to just push that to this episode, but they could only do half an episode clip show.
I could see that, and
it's very strange.
They move stuff around the scene, especially with like the adult thing could have been like a different story, but it kind of works up with like the. No,
it definitely works better in this episode.
The first quarter of the episode is like could be related to that.
Yeah, I think ultimately the issue is that it's just redundant. It's a little too redundant. And maybe it could have been done a little better, like because really the issue, the thing you want to focus on is the Shinji Rei connection there.
Yeah,
we don't need to have all the other stuff because the second half of that episode basically all takes place in that
Shinji asks Rei about like, hey, what does my dad like? Because I see you having like actually good conversations with him. Like, what can you tell me about him? She's like, I can't tell you anything. I don't know anything. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, she basically just does not engage with him.
And he's like, but then he's like, oh, she's like, is that why you were staring at me? Because you went at me? He's like, well, I saw you cleaning that, and the way you ringed it out was very mother-like. You could be a great housewife someday. I'm like, that's a weird thing to say, Shinji.
And Rei is blushing, which this is potentially the most involuntary emotion we've ever seen Rei express.
She has a mom fetish.
She like is clearly perturbed by this assertion, like. I guess she maybe like can see herself in that role and like sees it as inappropriate. I don't know. Why do you think she's blushing here? Well, you're saying she has a mom fetish. That doesn't make any sense.
She wants to be a mom. She just gets off of being called a mom. But no, honestly, like I don't know. Maybe that clone thing. It's maybe that little thing of like, if she knows what she is, then it could just be a reassuring of like, oh, maybe I am like. Actually be a person and not some weird fucking emotionless like
doll
homunculus.
She's literally homunculus.
Like because it makes her feel like, I guess, like like becoming more of a real person. And like someone noticing that is like a big thing for her. And I don't know, people blush all the time in this fucking show, but I don't know. She had a little bit of a connection with Shinji before this and everything, so I don't know. Rei's weird. She can go from that to just being like the weird girl that stares at the fucking robot trying to punch her in the fucking window. I don't know. But that's the only thing I can really think of. But other than that, we get, what's it called? So they basically were saying that like Shinji and is gonna have to do something with his dad. It's obviously they're gonna go to visit his mother's grave. I called that like right away when I heard that first line, and they do go see it. What's her name? Yui.
Yui Ikari.
Yeah. So we don't really know how she died. She died in 2004, so not during the second impact.
Yeah, which I think was 2000 or 1999.
But Gendo actually talks to Shinji about her because there's no pictures of her. Which is weird.
One thing that, Shinji says, oh, you got rid of everything after she died.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway, I think, is Gendo saying, like, the lesson, he came here for a reason. He came here to, like, remind himself that...
He comes here all the time.
Yeah, and that you have to, like, remember certain things about people, but you can let, like, other things die. It's really about,
you can move on, but as long as you take like stuff that you learn from them or stuff from like,
it's about like that kind of
you can
growing as a
you can-
person from
you
your
can, yeah, you can
tragedy.
keep your memories from them and stuff you learn and your progress from them, but you still move on, like be healthy and
But like material to him, material possessions are like nothing. Like no photos.
yeah.
We haven't seen what Shinji's
Hmm.
mom looked like, have we?
If you have a clone,
But yeah, and then as he's leaving,
he sees Ray
he
in
sees
the
Rey,
in the ship.
so
Child danger.
and I think it's at the end of this episode that we see
Yeah, well,
near the
I think that's
it's near
very
the very
very
end.
end. But then we have Shinji and Asuka at the apartment together. Pen Pen's there too. I can't forget about Pen Pen.
He's always there.
And basically, like they're like, I'm bored, and like, hey Shinji, we should kiss. You never kissed a girl before. Let's fucking kiss. I'm bored. And he's like, I guess. And then they kiss for what feels like fucking forever.
It is a long.
Also, she has to
ass
hold his
kiss.
nose because she did like his nose breathing on her.
Which I think it's like I love the way the scene's done. It's so like intimate. Like the
Shinji-
way she whispers when she's like, "Your nose is tickling me." Then she like forcefully closes his nostrils, like.
And then Shinji dies by 3 different times. His skin just changes like 3 different colors. Pen
Yeah.
just like goes to his room.
He doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
He's undisturbed by all this.
Undisturbed, probably the only remaining penguin in the world. Then the Arctic is
It's
fucking
possible.
destroyed.
It's highly possible. But yeah, and then Asuka's response to this is she like storms off and starts like fucking mouth washing her mouth out.
I'm glad Shinji didn't seem to be too offended by that, though. Surprisingly,
He didn't, but he definitely wasn't into it. And like
Yeah.
they both, I mean,
it's like Chainsaw Man once like Denji touched like Power's boob. He's like, I don't like this.
yeah,
I don't like you.
it's like
you're,
a
you're,
reevaluation.
you're terrible. You're a racist. Like I don't like this. It's like Asuka and Power. Like these are the same picture.
I love this scene though. It's great because it just shows like how Asuka is kind of like still extremely immature.
Yes.
She thinks that like kissing is like an adult thing, so she tries it, and then she clearly is not doing it right because she's just choking Shinji or well, not
Suffocating
choking
him.
suffocating Shinji. And then she immediately is like, "Oh, why would anyone do this? This is stupid." Like, so she's extremely immature still.
And Shinji does like, I guess he's not like making a big deal out of it, or like in any other anime we'd be like, whoa, this is crazy. Especially,
Yeah, in fact he's kind of like not into it.
yeah, can't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of dislikes Asuka. Like,
It's-
Asuka is
it's-
just mean to him.
It's very easy to do that.
We didn't even mention in the one episode where they're like syncing up in the Avas, Asuka like goes onto his comm and like taunts him about like, oh, you're gonna suck from your mommy's nipple, and Ritsuko's just like, Asuka, stop! Like,
the fuck
you're just
up.
being annoying.
That's my son in there. Shut up.
Asuka, like, you're just being a bitch for no reason.
God, like, and she's oh my god, Powder too. Like, for fuck's sake, we would throw her in a meat grinder if we could. Make schnitzel out of her.
Oh my god. Well, you wouldn't want to have ground meat for a schnitzel. You'd want to have like a breast or like. Oh my god, Sam just gave me a horrible look.
Excuse me, Jim. You want to what? Wait, what? Oscar Fleeter.
I meant chicken breast. I meant chicken breast.
Sure, he did. So, get back on track. So, what's it called? Misato and Kaichi comes back, and he's like still helping her in, dumps her in her bed, and then Asuka being Asuka like jumps all over him, and just be like, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna go fuck right now, and just be like, no thanks. And he's like, you smell like her perfume, and be like, yeah, no shit, he was carrying her in the entirety of this.
Well, yeah, because in the beginning of the episode, for her date, Asuka wanted to borrow Misato's perfume.
Foreshadowing.
And so it just shows like something that that Asuka sees as romantic is something that's denied from her, and only Misato can have. Ooh.
Oh no, a conflict.
Yeah, I have to say too, like the last episode had like nothing but recycled animation. This episode had some incredible like lighting, like the way the apartment's lit, and like the part when like the hallway where Kaji and Shinji are in when they go in and out. It's like all in darkness, and like the rest of the house is like illuminated by like warm lights. It just looks so good.
We're gonna get like a non-functioning love triangle with like Misato.
Non-functioning love triangle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas like, we're like half the triangle, I get the two quarters 2/3 of the triangle. I have tongue tied. Is like does not go both ways or just like one way.
It's basically just a line.
Yeah, it's just a line. Yes.
Um,
And then we basically just end the episode with like Ray in the tube because Ray's not in class.
so yeah, to me it looks like a big brain. It's like this massive like wires
it looked like-
and tubes that.
It looked more like intestines or like some kind of like something like the stomach area where it just be like, and then the tube would just like maybe like a child kind of thing where it's just like all these organs, then you see the child being formed like underneath it all, like
Oh, interesting.
like
A glass womb, like
yeah,
an artificial womb.
it kind of like that.
Huh.
I didn't get a brain out of that.
To me, when I look at that, I just see a brain shape.
You know,
But yeah, and then Ray is in this.
it was
like,
only a quick
tube.
look at it, but like
Yeah, Ray. So Ray is in a tube, naked. If I recall correctly, smiling, and then Gendo's looking up at her and smiles.
Yeah.
The rare Gendo smile. Sicko.
Sicko, yes.
Yes, I'm into this.
Everything going according to plan, Jim.
And then it goes down further, and then we see the
That's
big
right.
fucking reveal.
So, Kaji is just undisclosed location. Masato follows him to undisclosed location, knows that he's a spy. Like,
It is Terminal Dogma. That's what the location is.
Okay, let me just say undisclosed location called Terminal Dogma.
Because more religion references.
Yes, we didn't have enough. We needed more. That's why I opened the door to get more. So, and yeah, it's like, well, he's like, I'm gonna shoot you right now, man. You just fuck off. We're even now. And he's like, I'm gonna open this door. And opens it, like, nervous hiding stuff like this. The first angel, Adam, and the spear is in his chest. Or I guess a smaller... I'm guessing that it's like they have a smaller spear now, because that looks like incredibly large.
Well,
unless we didn't really get a scale, I guess them next to it, but like...
Well, remember Ray was carrying the spear.
Yes, but I felt like that spear in that room inside Adam on the cross was a lot bigger. But then again, I don't have the scale.
The spear is like as big as an Ava.
Okay,
because Ray was carrying it like the spear. It's a lance. It's not a spear.
He was like half of an. Because like I would have probably could like measure it more if the Ava was like I guess the Ava, but like Adam wasn't like cut in half. Because Misato thinks it's like an Ava because it has, I guess that's what it looks like underneath the top, like the head of it.
Yeah, immediately she thinks it's an Ava.
Yeah, and like it's nailed to a cross because I wonder who that could be related to, and
I don't know.
Has a spear in him. But yeah, I'm guessing like I wonder if like the Ray thing happened before this or after this. But like the little clip from the and then she just went back and stabbed it right back into it. But I thought Adam was also inside that briefcase.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it?
Maybe that's Eve. second angel is Eve.
Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, at this point, big revelation. Clearly, someone's lying because Kaji has identified two things as Adam. So
yes, I mean, Jim, people have been lying nonstop. The entire aspect is that someone's been lying. Like everybody in Nerve has been lying.
It's true.
It's kind of their gimmick.
I really try and relate to Misato and like Ritsuko having a friendship because I can't think of having like such a confrontational relationship with someone that would be like my closest friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And except you. I do hate you.
That's fine. It's fair. That's understandable. Many people tend to.
The way you said that, holding your like glass of mead, your glass of wine, or maybe.
True. But I mean, we have the case of the I guess the I guess a PR stunt of like the one armor suit going haywire. We have
Jet Alone,
sure. We had that thing
because that was a cover, like they orchestrated a sabotage,
and the power going out had to be related to someone doing that, like
presumably Kaji.
But
I really like, what is Kaji's motivation?
Kaji is also, did he just perfectly want to do it when he's in the elevator?
Yeah, it seems like a weird spot. I mean, it does give him an alibi.
Or did he do it just to keep Masato out?
That is also true. It does seem like he kind of chose to be there.
So I can sexually assault my ex.
That was in a different episode.
Still. We can see all the scenes in that episode.
But yeah, anything else? That's kind of it, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's basically it. That's how it ends.
Good old Evangelion, keeping you guessing.
And overall, like very interesting episodes. Other than that, all interesting in their own way, to say the least. I mean, the last episode was very good character stuff and like intrigue stuff. The middle episode was like a weird clip show that was just there. But I mean, just afterward, it gives enough. It's a good transition episode for like a halfway season. We need to do a clip show and kind of do it at the same time. Instead of doing all clip show, they do it like a prologue to the second act.
Yeah.
And I like that.
It's almost giving you like a primer for what the next part of the story is about to feel like.
We know there's a spear. We know there's more Atom shit and more big companies like lying. And we have to figure out like what's up with the first angel. What's up? What about the unknown second angel now? Like maybe more info about the second impact. Like how did they tame a fucking whatever this I guess the Avas are angels or something, or how did they tame them?
How does the N64 game lore fit into all of this?
Yes, exactly. I forgot about the N64 game.
It does have all of the lore, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have an episode where we just like read about that or just have a live stream of
Let's play. I would love to try and play the N64 game.
You can get that shit though.
Is
it only in Japan? You probably have to buy a translation for it.
I don't know. I'm sure that
probably,
there are official or unofficial translations.
Knowing Ava, it's probably been translated very fast. Like,
I mean, all like the fucking princess builder game. What are they? They're not called.
This Princess Maker.
Yeah, Gainax also did like raising. They're called like Princess or Rei Ayanami Raising Project, where you basically have to like raise Rei and raise Asuka. That's where, if you've ever seen the famous shot of Rei's Ava like fishing. That is like from that game. That's hilarious. Real official art.
That's so weird. I saw a bunch of I think I saw a bunch of Ava Tamagotchis that are coming out. I think or either are out.
I have one right there.
But no, of like the pilots.
Oh, really? Of the pilots?
Yeah. I think I saw them the other day. But like,
I want to raise a Rei.
You raise a Rei. Yeah, but you just gotta stream all the weird fucking games. But yeah. I've seen that image.
Literally fishing. I'm pretty sure that's from one of the games. Also hilarious. They put the funny hat on her. They put the funny hat on Rei.
You can't put the long one. You gotta put the women want me, fish fear me.
This is women want me. Women fear me, fish fear me. Men turn their eyes away from me. As I walk, no beast dare makes a sound in my presence. I'm alone on this barren earth.
Quote Rei.
Quote Rei.
Quote the Rei nevermore. But I think. Very episode, but the one episode was like very the hacking episode was kind of very dumb episode.
It's one of the weakest ones, I would say.
Yeah. Other than that, I think there's some the second half still have me very intrigued. I'm not sure how you feel about these episodes. Going back now,
the ones coming up or the ones we just watched?
The ones we just watched.
I really loved the last one we watched. The what was it?
Yes.
Two women put their lips out for a kiss or whatever it's called.
The make out session one.
That one is a fantastic. That is like iconic Ava. The shot or the scene where Shinji kisses Asuka. That is like iconic to me. Yeah, all the stuff with these characters that I love so much, Misato, Rei, it's all great.
Yeah.
Can't wait for next time.
Yeah,
the next episode, I'm so psyched to watch. It's one of the most like conceptually coolest angels.
Okay, we're back to an angel. Cool.
Finally. It only took 3 episodes.
There we go. Yeah. Hopefully it's more interesting than Hacker.
I would say so.
Hacker nanomachines.
I would say so.
So, anything else you
want to say? I would say we're entering what I would call the mindfuck era of Ava.
Yeah, I know that's to come. We still have to get the Shinji's gay lover I know about.
Yes, which we are very far into the series and have seen.
I'm surprised how far he's in there.
Hair of Shinji's gay lover, aka
the white-haired boy.
Kaoru.
Kaoru.
Yes, I cannot say that name.
And I think that's the only real like, new character that gets like introduced.
That you know. Well, what's her name? Mari.
We're not there yet.
Mari Makanami.
My favorite character. She was always there.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Jar Jar's the key. Like, yeah, Mari's the key.
Mari's
the key to all of this.
I really want to talk about the newest Ava movie. I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
Talk about Anna's wife. Yeah. Mari's the key. Her pink Ava's the key. Yeah.
Her pink Ava. All right. Thank you for joining us. This was a longer one than I expected.
I mean, yeah, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Should I what am I plugging?
The plug suit.
I feel like we've done that.
What was plugged in these episodes?
Shinji's nose.
It was Shinji's nose. It was plugged, yeah.
All right.
Plug up Shinji's nose.
All right. Thank you all for listening to the AvaCast. You can give it a like, give it a comment, give it a subscription if you haven't already. You can follow the podcast on Twitter or follow me or Jim separately. You can also pop in to join the Discord. And with that, we'll see you next time. We're halfway through this Avacast, man. We're almost there, and then we get to the end of Evangelion.
I can't wait. I fucking love that movie so much. I'm so looking forward to seeing that movie again.
I'm excited.
It's a masterpiece.
All right. And with that, we'll see you next time.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.